Good afternoon to all. Again I will discuss about the introduction part under unit 4, and end of this lecture student will able to learn about the deep drawing, stretch forming and bending operations. What are the sheet metal forming operations? That is the bending, stretch forming and deep drawing. Bending, generally that is also one type of forming process, metal forming process, used to form parts such as flanges curl, seams or corrugations. Using that operation we get that type of parts. To impart stiffness by increasing moment of inertia, to get the higher stiffness by increasing moment of inertia we get the higher stiffness. Another, here straight length is transformed into curved length, means in case of bending operation we have converted the straight length into curved length. Bending process, that are the bending process we have shown in that particular picture. Using that process we bend the some sheet metal. Terminology: bend allowances, length of neutral axis in bent area. Another, actually bent allowances taken length of neutral axis in bent area. In case of to determine the blank length and bent part, here LB bent blank length alpha equals to alpha into R or equals to KT. Here alpha equals to bend angle in radius, R equal to bend radius, K equals to constant, T equals to thickness of the sheet. Here for ideal cases K equals to 0.5. Terminology used in bending: minimum bend radius. Here a load is applied compressions. Inner fiber compression in when we are taking the bending, the inner fiber taken compression and outer side fiber taken tension. Inner fiber means that inner side taken the compression and outer side taken the tension. Theoretically strains are equal to E0 equals to Et. So but due to shifting of neutral axis, sometimes due to bending, sometimes neutral axis length will be shifted and bend is smaller in outer surface, mean here the length of the particular bend portion of that inner portion, that is the smaller with respect to outer side. Here E0 equals to Et equals to 1 by 2 R by T plus T. R means bend radius, T equals to thickness of that particular sheet. Minimum bend radius. So here if R by T means in that equations, that R by T, if we increases the R by T means bend radius to thickness, if increase tensile strain decreases and increases the outer fiber, means if R by T will be increases, the tensile strain decreases but increases the outer fiber and material may crack. Due to that thing material may crack in certain strain. The radius R which crack appears outer surface, means that crack will be appear to the outer surface, is called minimum bend radius. Generally it will be expressed as 2T, 3T and 4T, and some other also expressions also there. If R by T approaches 0, then it is completely bendable, means R by T if approaches to 0, that it will be bendable. Example, paper. This characteristic is called bendability. Bendability means due to bending operations, if we are considering, means that is the bending operation, that is the rolling direction, That is the rolling direction. That type of cracks will be formed during bending type. Here no cracks. That is the rolling direction. If we are rolling in that direction, that cracks will be formed. If we are taken rolling direction, that is no cracks will be formed. Means elongated inclusions, stringers. Factors, what factors affecting that bendability? First one, bendability can be increased by increasing the tensile stresses. We increasing the tensile stresses, the bendability will be increases. By increasing the temperature also we increases the bendability. By increasing pressure also bendability also increases. And it can be increased by increasing the compressive stresses. Compressive stresses, if we are increases, the bendability also increases. And minimizing tensile stresses in outer stresses. Tensile stresses in outer stresses, minimizing the tensile stresses in that cases. Bend length. If length increases, outer fiber change from uniaxial stress to biaxial stresses. Reasons for this length: L tends to become smaller due to stretching outer fiber. Means length becomes smaller. Here length will be smaller due to stretcher in outer fiber. Biaxial stretching tends to reduce ductility. If biaxial stretching takes place, so ductility will be reduces, increases chances to failure. If biaxial stretching tends to reduce ability and chances to failure. And length increases, minimum bend radius also increases. Age condition means being rough bendability decreases. In ages, the being rough bendability also reduces. Removal of the cold work regions such as shaving, machining and heat treating greatly improves the resistance to edge cracking. Spring back. So plastic deformation, sometimes due to plastic deformation is the sheet metal followed by the elastic recovery upon removal of the load. It is called spring backing. Due to plastic deformation, sometimes it will be come back to some small part, come back to original position, means plastic deformation followed by the elastic removal upon removal of the load recovery. This recovery is called spring back. That can be observed in short strip metal and it can occur in any cross section. It can occur. Here in example we are seeing that is the pat and that is the die and that is the punch. By applying the punch it will take that type of shape. When we remove that punch, that due to elastic recovery, that will be take some deviation from that particular die, okay, means that is the spring back. How to compensate in the spring back? By using overbending. If we are taken overbending, so due to overbending sometime we maintain the spring back. Another is bottoming. Bottoming involves squeezing the part at the end of that stroke that plastically deforming in the bend region. So by bottoming and overbending we can compensate the spring back. So in case of common bending operation, press break forming. So here we can see sheet metal can be bent using simple fixture and presses. Using simple fixture and presses also we can bend. Press brake is usually machine that is used also for bending operation. This machine uses mechanical or hydraulic presses usually suitable for short runs and can be automated. By using machine press, mechanical or hydraulic press, also we bend the sheet metals also. Die metals can be, in that cases, die metals can be wood, steels and carbides. That is the press brake. Using press brake, we bend the some sheet metal. Air bending. in that cases only die is used in case of air bending operations, and bending is carried out with a pair of rolls. The larger one is made of polyurethane. So in case of air bending only die we have used, and bending carried out a pair of rolls. The larger one is made of polyurethane. Upper roll pushes into flexible lower roll, and in case of roll bending here 3 rolls are used, and adjusting distance between the 3 rolls and produces various curvature. Using 3 rolls we produce the bending of the sheet metal, and distance we can adjust it as per our requirement. And here short pieces can also be bent using that air bending operations. That is the roll bending operation. Means here that is the blank, and that is the punch. Using punch, that is the die. As per die shape we produce the bending in that particular blank. Due to application of the force, punch force, that type of bending takes place in that particular die. Air bending. Using the air bending also we have bending has been done also using the air bending. Means that is the die, that is the blank, and that is the punch. That type of bending takes place in case of air bending also. That is the roll bending. Using the roll bending, using the roller we taken the bending in that particular sheet as per die shape. Common bending operations. Beading means here sheet is bent into cavity of that die. Improve means here bending takes place of that particular sheet metal in the cavity, and here improves stiffness, imparts moment of inertia of the edges of that bending sheet. Flanging, here sheet edges are bent at 90 degree. This causes hoof stress. If excessive bent, then wrinkling means buckling, that problem, that effect will be induced in that particular thin sheets, which leads to cracking. Stretch forming. So in that cases clamp means sheets are clamped around its edges, and stretch over takes place on that particular die of that sheet metal, and that can be moved upwards or downwards, sideways, depending upon the requirements. By the providing the tensile force by proper clamping, that may be upward, downwards or sideways, depending our requirement. Primarily generally used to make aircraft wing skin, automobile door panels and window frames. That will, for producing that things we use that stretch forming sheet metal, although it will be used for low volume production, and that is the versatile and economical method. That is the stretch forming operation. Means here that thin sheet hold properly in that particular portion, using proper, by the proper holding of that thin sheet we provide the force, and the stretch takes place in that particular thin sheet. That is also stretch forming operations. That is the tool. Stretch gripper means we hold the sheet metal properly, and that is the hydraulic stretch unit. That is the turntable, and that is the adjustable slide, and that is the workpiece, and that is the stable mounted gripper. Means so by the proper holding of that particular thin sheet we take the stretch forming operations. Deep drawing, used to shaping the flat sheets into cup shaped articles, we have produced using deep drawing operations, and that also done by the playing back of the appropriate shaped die and press into with punch. Using the proper punch and shaped die we converted into particular cup shaped products, and also produce the particular cup shaped product using deep drawing operation. That is the deep drawing operations. Here that is the blank, means in that picture we have shown that is the blank, okay, and that is the punch, that is the blank holder, and that is the blank holder, and that is the die. When we apply the force on that particular sheet metal, then it will take the cup shape will be formed on that particular thin sheet. defects. What are the defects will be produced in that particular form products? First one, cracks. Due to ultimate defect developed of the cracks, destroyed its structural integrity. It will sometimes increases the crack to that particular sheet metal due to higher applied forces. Buckling and wrinkling. So wrinkling the edges results in buckling of the sheet due to high circumferential compressive stresses. Due to high circumferential compressive stresses, that type of wrinkling will be happened. And also blank diameter is too high, punch load will also rise, which may exceed critical bungling value, and it will lead sometime failure of that particular sheet metal. To prevent this, is necessary to have sufficient hold pressure is required. Particularly, we hold the particular sheet metal properly, and we also recover the buckling effect particular in that sheet metal. Surface defects. Here, since metal also characterized by the high surface area, to surface is prone to defects. Susceptible surface blemishes and peeling surface also known as orange peeling, and it is mostly occur in sheet having large grain size. Due to having large grain size, generally orange peeling effect happened in that particular surfaces. That can be corrected by using having smaller grain size. If by using the proper smaller grain size in that sheet metal, we remove that type of orange peeling surface defects. Stretcher marks means sometimes regarded another serious defect, that defects characterized by the flame-like patterns, depression on the surface, sometimes higher elongation to that particular sheet metal, sometimes ladder bands, that type of problem occurred in that particular thin sheets. Depression first appear along the plan of the shear stresses, and also sometimes it will produce different depression, and also rough surface has been formed in that particular sheet metals also. Earring, that directional properties are essential, and that type of problems occur deep drawing operations. Means in that case, wavy edges on the top of the drawn cup, that type of wavy edges will be formed in that particular form products. Necessitates extensive reaming, means for removing the wavy edges, means earring problem, the higher trimming, extensive trimming operation is required. Bar formation means that defect that is seen in shearing and blanking operations. Means that real productivity killers, means that reduces the quality of that particular product, and also it increases the time and cost, also increases the cost to debar. More for removal of the bar, that will increases the cost also. Debarring operations, no value to process. This also related to clearance between cutting edges, reduced by decreasing the cutting clearance. Means by the reducing the clearance, we reduce the bar formation to that particular cutting edges. What are the learning outcomes? End of this lecture, student will have to learn about the deep drawing operation, stretch forming and bending. Particular thin sheet we have hold in that particular setup, and that type of cup shaped product produced at a time. Number of cup shaped product we have produced at a time using this process. Means that is the RAM, and here if we are taken thin sheets and produced we provide the pressure, means we provide the force using the RAM, that type of cup shape type product will be formed in that particular operations. Roll bending operation. There is a 3 rollers are there. We keep the particular bar type rods, means rectangular type bar we have kept on that particular 3 rollers. We adjusted the rollers, then we passes that rectangular type bar, and that type of rolling takes place in that particular operations. that type of rolling takes place in that operations, rule bending operations. That is called rule bending operations. Stretch forming operations. That is the thin sheets. They are taken thin sheets. Now they hold the thin sheet properly in that particular gripper. They hold the thin sheets in that particular gripper, and in between that gripper some supporting portion is there. Here supporting portion is there. They hold the thin sheet properly to that gripper. Now they give the pressure by using the gripper, and the portion of that particular thin sheet will be stretched. As per our requirement, we stretching provided to that particular thin sheets, not more than. If it will give the more stretching, the sheet will be as per net type formation takes place, or the thin sheets maybe it will be taken as a failure. As per our requirement, we providing the stretching to that particular thin sheets.